Greetings to all present here. Thank you, sis. Bekungasebenzi bekunene sanibonani. I would like to greet all of us who are present here and the others who are not with us who are visual, and thank all of us for honoring the invitation from WLSA to come and have this dialogue. I'm happy to see young women meeting and having to discuss matters of us as leaders of this nation. I don't know ukuthi kubobani ngetikhundla ngekwehlukana. I'm observing all that. Na acting director wethu ka WLSA ngiyambingelela nani nonke bekunene. Uma ngiva ukuthi kunataba nalo mhlangano we're going to have this meeting, I was very happy because as we know, as WLSA, we have been there for, who are there for women's rights, women and girls' rights, and we are to see to it that their rights are being taken care of, or making government aware, or anyone who are not noticing that. What I can say is that we are also for the right of participation and equal representation in decision-making process, which I think we will be deliberating about here in this group. Women are born managers, because we know that in every home state there is a woman, a girl who manages that home. They don't need even to go to an institution or be trained. They are born with it. Women are managers, they manage. When you get to a home, if there are no women, you can see that there is no women in this home. Everything is okay because there is a woman. People are born, they are babies. Before they become adult, there is a woman who takes care of a person from the womb until that person is born. And when that person is born, a woman is there to take care of that person until he reaches the adulthood. In the absence of a woman, things will never go right. That is what God made us of. It's it's a built-in thing. So if a home, if a woman is a manager, a girl is a manager, she manages a home, it means that a community without a woman being there to manage cannot be managed properly, because a mother, a girl is not there, which goes up to government. If a woman is not there in the government to manage with men, it means things will not go right. I will not go deeper for that, but you will be deliberating about all those things, asking ourselves that is it because we have left women behind that things are not going right? Because women are born managers. I've already said that if there are no women, there will be a chaos. If there is no woman in a home, there is a chaos. So women, not by favor, but by being a woman, you were built that way. You were created that way, that you are a manager. So in that way, we urge that all people must be aware that by leaving women behind, we are not doing good for the country. Women, how then can we women be equally included in the governance of our country? I think that is what we will be deliberating about, because of not being inclusive in the management and governance of the country, by being women, by being managers, as I've said, it means there's something we are missing. I would like to share my experience. Maybe some of you have never met me before. I'm a former senator of the country, and I was a senator at a young age. I'm happy to say that. I was looking back, I was 36 years when I became a senator. During that time, I was with Bobabe Bennett, I was with Mage Constance when she wasn't a minister by then. I was with Maria Njangase in the other house. I was with Mthanenkosi Dlalisile. I was with Mthanenkosi Petfayini during that time. Women during that time, it was me and Mage Queen Mota and Mage Constance and Mthanenkosi Dlalisile and Mthanenkosi Petfayini. We were 5 in the Senate. That was my time. I was young, but I was very vocal during that time. And I believe being a senator during that time was because I was vocal, because I was elected by the House of Assembly, and I was not there in the premises of Parliament to lobby the members. I remember very well, I was at home, and I was very vocal in elections with the Babe Gondwane during that time. I was very vocal. Everyone saw what I had in me. Then when they went to Parliament, they raised my name. My name was I was the only woman in 19 men in Parliament to make the 20. Thank you. Then that is how I got to Parliament. And I was at home not knowing that I've been elected now to be a senator, because bengiphuma emshikashikeni welukhetho sengisele ngihleli nje ekhaya ngingakhani ukulutho. Then I remember very well Babe MP, Babe Gondwane, during that time. She came to my home. It was 10 p.m. Atobuta ukuthi silele angikabonini angeva yini ukuthi sengiyisenator. Ngathi hayi khona uyagula lo babe. I didn't know that I was a senator. I was just sleeping at home. That's how I was voted to Senate, and that's how I would argue when I go to other countries, because I heard that I was elected by the House of Assembly, and I was the only woman. I'm happy to say during our time in Parliament, there was no women women caucus. We have this thing which is called women caucus. and we were able to form that, and I was part of the formulation of that, looking at when I was going out in other countries. We were not taken serious because we didn't have a women's caucus in our parliament. So I had to come back and negotiate with our president, who was the late Senator Mondo Mswane. Then we formed, we had to put that in the House, and it passed, and we formed a women's caucus in our parliament. And I'm happy to say that during that time I was the first chairperson of the women's caucus during that time. And I'm happy to say during our time, it was the time of making the constitution of the country. And I'm happy that we were able, as women during that time, to go and submit to the formation of the constitution. And I'm happy that we are the one who submitted that, because during that time, we were supposed to make the 30% during our time. So we submitted that at least if the 30% is not formed, the 4 women from the regions must be elected to parliament. And I'm happy that that has come, although it delayed. I'm happy that it has come to pass during when I was still alive. That is the few things maybe I can share. What I can share is that as a woman, you have to be strong, and you have to stand, and you have to voice what you believe in. I have mentioned that during my time I had vocal people like Boba Bennett. He was very vocal. And if you were weak, you would feel a headache somehow when you are standing up to submit. But I'm happy that during that time, I remember very well, I was with Bobabe Macha Dlamini, who's now in the High Court. He was a senator during that time. I was with them. I'm happy to submit that during that time we had there was a motion which was moved that our children mustn't wear short skirts at school. I'm happy that motion was deliberated during my time. So the senators stood up and they were talking that these skirts were not good. So the ministry must change the skirts because they are too short. I remember very well, I can't remember, it was between, that motion was between Babe Macha and Babe Bennett. I remember very well, I stood up as young as I was during that time. I'm happy to see Bo Magetembe here. They know me during my young time. I remember very well, I stood up and said, it's a pity you senators, you are telling the world that you cannot look at your children wearing short skirts. And these children, they are children today. They have to be free today. And today you are saying they must wear long skirts because you, senators, you are saying you cannot look at them. That debate, kwafika lapho leyo motion ayizange iphumelele because ngasukuma ngabavula emehlo ukuthi bathini yini la bayikhuluma ngebantfana babo ngebantfana bethu. So lengikusho ngithi, I'm saying when you are a woman, you must stand for what you believe. I remember that well, that day I have not lobbied anyone and no one knew ukuthi ngidawusukuma ngikhulumeni. And they didn't lobby me because they didn't know how powerful I was until that day. From that day onwards, when they were writing motions which they wanted them to pass, they will make sure they come around me and talk, soft talk me to that motion and make me understand it, because I made that motion fail. It was it went viral, that motion, even BBC, anywhere, it went viral. So I'm sharing that to show that ungatibukeli phansi. You can do it. You can do it. You can do it. I'm happy to see I've said the same words to Mage Losangeko Mage Dumsile when she wanted to stand for elections. She was not sure if, and I told her, you can do it. And I was happy to see wale nyuka leladi, because ngakhuluma naye ngamnika isiqiniseko ukuthi you can do it. Even you today, you can do it. Kude leni ngeke nikukhone kukwenda la endlini. Kude leni ngeke nikukhone ningakwenda konke. Before sitting down, I cannot leave this. Ukuthi uma ngabe ungumphathi ungena, you get to position. You must think about the people first, not yourself. Because when you position, think about the people first. If you are in politics, you must forgive every day. If you don't forgive every day, you cannot be a good politician, because you'll be going back ukuthi bani wangenda kwakuthi bani uitolo akakangikhulumisi kahle. You forgive every day so that labantu na ubabuka ngakusasa nanzihambama ubabuka ngemehlo, you smile every day. You clean yourself, you clean your heart every day when you are a politician, because labantu banjene mntwana lobheke kumunya kuwe. So uma ubitha utabamonyisa tintfo letibitha. Thank you so much.
Our guest speaker, Mage Bela Katamzi, a former senator to the House of Parliament of Swaziland. Wilsa Board Chair, Mage Tapsile Mavimbela, also a former senator, as she has already told us. Ngiphinze recognize my partners ethu langekho lana ku virtual. Sifiso Sami Dube, who is our program officer ka International IDEA, Wilsa Regional Director Fadzai Traquino, Lose Zimbabwe, labasi joinago virtually. Ngicela kuba recognize nabo. Bese ngi-recognize again nalaba cavile kulo mhlangano wethu, tikhulumi tetfu leti cavile kulo mhlangano. Kuqala nga losiphathele lihlelo Make Sinethemba Dlamini, Gciniwe Fakudze, Siphiwo Masuku, nalota sendeli poet Sibongiwe Shongwe, nangosephayo Gumede naHlopsile Dlamini nadu Aphane. Ngicela sibashayele intandla. Siyabonga ligama lami ngingisizakele Hlatshwayo. I'm the acting national director at Women in Law. I am going to be giving you an overview of the project, and also why are we having cross-generational dialogues for women in leadership. They've only given me 5 minutes to do this. I will try to rush through it so that just to give you an overview. You can do the slideshow, yes. Okay, the project that we are about today, the project, I can't move well. We are launching, today we are launching a Dialogues for Women in Leadership. This is a project that is being implemented by WLSA together with other 6 organizations at continental level. The project is called Women in Political Participation. Angeke kuhambe kahle. Okay, ngime ngitobo. Right. Okay, ngoba sengiplugiwe angisathi ngime kanjani. Okay. Yes, so the program is under the Women Political Participation, this beautiful logo here with the woman's face. That is our project. It is called Enhancing the Inclusion of Women in Political Participation in Africa. It is funded by the Embassy of Sweden through a partner called International IDEA, which is based in Ethiopia. It's a 3-year project, which is ending in 2022. Implemented, I have already said, by 7, I think, being 7 international IDEA, regional organization, like Africa. They include FAWE, Femnet, Genderlinks, IFAN. IFAN Gender Laboratory is at the University of Dakar in Senegal. Padare Enkundleni it's in Zimbabwe. It's a male involvement organization. Then WLSA at regional level. So these are regional organizations that are implementing this project, and they are in different countries. For WLSA, we are the implementing partner, and the regional office is supporting us. We have Senegal, we have Kenya, we have Eswatini, we have Zimbabwe, we have Botswana, Cote d'Ivoire, Tanzania, and the DRC. These organizations, they all bring their strengths into the gender consortium that is implementing this project. They all have a history of work on gender equality and women's advancement. They combine national level presence with a sub-regional and a pan-African African orientation, as I have listed these organizations. We are talking about women political participation. It is a pan-African gender project on the different facets of women and politics in Africa. As I have already said, it is funded by the Sweden Embassy through International IDEA. Its aim is to contribute to advancing the goal of gender equality in politics and governance, in line with the Maputo Protocol, which is the protocol on women's rights to the African Charter of 2003, and also in alignment with various associated sub-regional protocols and standards. At SADC level, we have the SADC protocol on gender and development, and also the UN Sustainable Development Goals. I think I've already touched on this one. We can go to the next slide. Okay. The impact objectives of the project are to contribute to an increase in the voice and presence of women in political processes and institutions in Africa, to step up advocacy for and expand awareness towards increased demands for the inclusion of women at all levels of political participation and decision making. The last one is to build and strengthen enabling platforms that allow for women's inclusion in all levels of political participation. Hence, we are here today to provide this space where we are going to discuss what is it that we need to do better or prepare or know in terms of leadership. The objectives, I think this is a repetition. Okay. The program areas, they include knowledge generation, documentation, and dissemination, which is where we did a research. We have done a research which will be launching, I think, in the next few months to come. We'll be launching a research on women political participation in Eswatini that we conducted last year. There is also training and capacity enhancement. Last week we held a virtual academy on women in leadership. Because of COVID, we couldn't do it the way it had been envisaged. But anyway, in any case, we were able to have a 1 week training for women on leadership. We have a training manual that has been developed under this project, which is assisting women to understand some of the critical issues, terminologies, just to understand what leadership is all about. If you are running for a campaign, what are the, the critical things that you need to prepare yourself? Communication skills, public speaking skills, what is politics, what is governance, all those things. If you are aspiring to be in leadership, what is it that you need to prepare? So the manual is very comprehensive. So we are running that. We'll be doing the second one, I think in October or November, we'll be doing the second academy, just to prepare women in leadership. The end result of all this is that by 2023, we may be able to increase the number of women in parliament and also influence even other institutions and sectors in increasing the number of women in leadership. We are also doing policy and political dialogues, that is lobbying parliaments, lobbying media, stakeholders, key stakeholders in terms of the women participation. We also have advocacy and outreach, then peer-to-peer exchanges and mentorship. We are learning from Fawe, we are learning from Femnet, we are learning from Padare. They will be doing the dialogues for us. So we are partnering at the regional level. Partners under this project, they include civil society, women's organizations, where there are political parties in those countries. They work with the political parties, but we work with anyone and everyone who is involved in leadership issues, elections. We have the media, we have interest groups that are there at community level, election management bodies, parliaments, gender ministries, gender department in our case. We have regional economic communities and the African Union. They are our partners in this project, and also policymakers and advisors. I will not go through the activities. I think I have already mentioned the program areas of what we are doing. Can you? Okay. Here. Thank you. So the cross-generational dialogues, they are bringing young and seasoned leaders to a round table to discuss women political participation or women inclusion in leadership issues. That is what we are here to do. The first objective is to create avenues for training and mentoring of young women for the purposes of the next generation leadership development for advancing women's political participation. We are hoping that after these dialogues, it will be a buzzword, or it will be just so common to find ourselves discussing how can young women be involved in leadership? How can we learn from the older women or seasoned women or experienced women in leadership? How can we work together? How can we share the experiences without sibukana, sikhombana, but kube synergy in terms of young and older women? Because I think research has shown that there are instances whereby the other group would think we are better off because we are experienced. And the other group will think we are better off because we know IT, we know social media, you can't tweet, you can't do anything. So they think they are better than the others. So in the end, we are losing and missing on strengths that we could be sharing. So this platform is so that we can, some of us that can't tweet, can't use social media properly, we can be assisted by the younger generation to know how to utilize these useful platforms for the betterment of women and also for enhancing our leadership pursuit. So there is a lot that we can learn if we can, come together as women. The second one is to have intergenerational conversations amongst women for experience sharing and development of new forward-looking agendas for advancing women's political participation. The third will be to interrogate the barriers for women participation in leadership from a women's perspective, address patriarchal belief systems on women participation in leadership. There are certain phrases that are thrown now and again. Women don't support each other. Women look down upon each other. We're pulling down syndrome, what not. Those are patriarchal belief systems that have been, that have been embedded in our thinking until, as women, that's how we think. That if my boss is a woman, she will be pulling me down because I'm a woman. It's better when your boss is a man because a man is going to support you. So those are the barriers that we need to then address and find out why. Why do we have those phrases? Where are they coming from? Who started saying that? What was the agenda behind that statement? Because we have then been given that and we have taken it. That's the first statement you will get. Hayi mangabe make sekang MP utokutvalela. Hayi make nangabe sekasetulu vele uyatvala bese uyatvala. Then you ask yourself, boba be abakatvali yini bona nangabe kuyatvalwa. I don't know. So those are the things that we want to let's speak truthfully to those things and say this is what happens. Let's have young people tell us, you seasoned or experienced leaders, you are blocking us when you do this. Give us space in this manner. And we are also going to say what we think needs to come to the table, so that at the end of the day, we get, everything that we have, we benefit from the strengths of each and every one of us. I think these are just my conclusions. I think we hope that these sessions will provide an opportunity for reflections, and hopefully by the end of the project we may have a good number of women who are working together in pursuit of having a significant number of women in leadership position. I think changing the agenda wherever we are. The agenda is that of having women in leadership position. It is our prayer that if we are in leadership position as women, ingafeli etandleni tethu. So the platforms may assist us in understanding and learning from other women. What can we do to make sure that what we are carrying, we can leave a legacy, like Mage Katamzi today will be telling us on what assisted her in leaving a legacy in leadership. So with that, thank you very much for your attention.
Creating platforms for women to talk. Basically, that is why we are here. We are here to talk. We are here for information sharing. We are here to learn from Labo Magela Matzala. Kutsi how, Mag? Usho kutsi bening 19 bakhetha wena, Mage Mafimbeli. What is it that you did that we are failing to do as the younger generation? We recently had the by-elections in Valatikala double MP. I remember there was a constituency where there were 2 women in the running for MP. That was very disappointing, but it also speaks to an opportunity that we have as women to swallow a mirror and do some serious introspection. Sigilwa ngemajob ethu ngesakubasho njalo. Angathi noma basho ukuthi sidiya siyagilana yini. But I know that there's an expression ngesiswati lesho kanjalo. So this is why we're here. We're going to start at the Hilton, and then we're going to take these conversations to the different spaces where we are. We're going to take these conversations to our offices. We're going to take these conversations to our meetings. We're going to take these conversations at Dingundle. We're going to take these conversations also back home, emakhaya la sibuya khona. Because the truth of the matter is there are conversations as daughters that we are yet to have with our mothers. For those of us who are still blessed to have mothers. Kunema conversations, kunetinqumo lesitithethe as young women, because probably if you had had that kind of conversation namagwako noma na gogo noma na andi, it would have turned out differently. So that is why we are here today. And I think we need to give WLSA and the partners another round of applause, because these are very important conversations that we need to be having. We are having this event, or rather we are launching this event in a time of COVID-19. And there are people that we have lost. I know that some of these names will not make sense to the younger generation, but I'm really hoping that after this session, you will care as a young woman why we will grieve Dumsile Sugati. You will care why we are grieving Bishop Agnes Wamgoya. She was the first female bishop in this country. And when you have an understanding for the kind of patriarchal nonsense that happens even in the church, you will understand and appreciate why we need women's voices in the church. You'll understand why we are grieving Magawini Magagula, why we are grieving Dr. Lydia Makubu, why we are grieving Senator Bonsile, and so many other women. So let's start a moment of silence to honor those women. Thank you. May their souls rest in peace. But while their souls rest in peace, I hope everyone in this room will not find peace until you're actively doing something to empower Lomnyemag, to empower a young woman. Unfortunately for you guys, your MC gets paid to talk. So at this point in time, we're going to welcome Sifiso Samit Dube, who is representing the International IDEA, who's joining us virtually, who's going to give us their remarks, and then we're going to continue with our program. Thank you.
Okay, greetings everyone from Johannesburg. Salmonani, Dinjani, Eswatini, Butangolugangwani. Igama lami nguSifiso Sami Dube, working for International IDEA. I'm supposed to be currently based in Maputo, but because of the COVID pandemic, I'm still here in Johannesburg. Before I move forward, I would like to recognize the following people in the room, either physically or virtually. The WLSA chairperson, WLSA acting national director, Ms. Zuniwe Fakudze, Ms. Dobisile Dlamini. It's good to see Dobisile in the room. I've worked with her some time before I joined IDEA. Mrs. Piwa Masugu, Ms. Do Apane, and everyone else who has made it to this important session. And also to just recognize if there are any honorable members of parliament or senators amongst in the room, as well as local government councillors amongst the people in the room or virtually. Thank you very much, Program Director, for this opportunity to give a few remarks around what International IDEA is doing in terms of women in political participation. This project, if you hear Sizagele saying WPP, it means Women in Political Participation. That is the acronym WPP. So we are now so used to WPP that sometimes we forget we are sure that there are formal as well as informal reasons for the lack of young women to participate in politics. As international idea, we encourage the politics of presence. While we're saying the politics of presence, we would love to see inclusivity in terms of politics, where both young women and older women are in political decision making. And also we recognize that Eswatini is one of the countries that have signed onto the Sustainable Development Goals as well as the Maputo Protocol in terms of women, gender parity in women in leadership. We also encourage participation. Participation meaning you won't sit at home when voting comes. You will also participate in voting as a woman, but also participating to vote for a woman when the election time comes. I know that Eswatini recently held elections in terms of the by-elections that were for the gaps that were existing in Parliament, for the members of Parliament that departed because of COVID. May their souls rest in peace. But in terms of participation, we encourage women, both old and young women, to participate in politics. By casting your vote, you ensure that you will not leave a woman behind in terms of leadership. We also encourage participation because what you cannot see, you cannot be counted. So meaning that if you cannot vote for a woman, we cannot count to say there are so many women in politics in Eswatini, or the proportion of women in Parliament is so much. So that's why we encourage the politics of participation. Actually, participation is one of the pillars of international idea globally in terms of encouraging political participation as well as supporting the other pillars, which is constitutional building as well as electoral processes. We also encourage the politics of transformation to say now that you are now in politics, what difference are you going to make in terms of the community? We encourage gender responsive governance. We encourage gender responsive laws and services, as well as internal processes and personal practices as a woman or as a man, to make sure that you encourage Abomage to have transformative leadership, so that during COVID times. Where you are a politician and you cannot support your community during these COVID times, people will say she's a useless MP, this one. So those are the things that we need to come up with during these cross-generational dialogues to say, as women, this is how you access finance, this is how you access resources. That doesn't mean that you have to have millions and millions in the thing, but also to be linked to the proper networks, to say this is how you can also organize with the private sector to mobilize them to make sure that they can help you as a member of parliament, as a councillor, as a senator, to make sure that your community does not suffer during COVID times. So we move along to say why the cross-generational dialogues. We look at young women who we want to be leaders, we want to get into politics, but still they look at the platform of politics, they fear to say, politics, what will happen to me? Will I be jailed? Will I be tortured? Will I be beaten? How will the media view me as a young woman in politics? That's why we are now setting up these cross-generational dialogues to say young women need to be nudged forward, they need to be mentored, to say the journey is not easy, but this is how you navigate through the thorns along the journey. We also encourage our male counterparts to say, do not just mentor others, just the younger men only, but look at the younger women, your daughters, your sisters, or even your wives, to say, encourage them to be part of the political game. Because these days, you cannot say, I don't want politics. We eat and live politics day in, day out. We see it in my newspaper, this is how politics comes out in their life. Even if you say I'm hiding away, still politics will find you. So we also encourage the young men in the rooms to encourage their fellow sisters to say, continue in this political journey. Young women have been complaining before to say, the older women abafuna ukusuka esikhundleni sepolitics. Obviously, they won't move. They won't give you power on a plate. No one can give you power, in fact. Power needs to be seized. Power needs to be worked for. You need to work hard for it. If you can't get through the door, just use the window. If you can't get through the window, just use the chimney maybe, so that you also become part of the game. And it's not a one-size-fits-all. If Usizagele campaigned and won, that doesn't mean that I will also campaign and win the elections. It's not a one-size-fits-all. It depends on what Umphakathi wants. It depends on what the structures, the electoral systems say in a particular country. But more so, every time as a political leader, you need someone whom you can offload onto in terms of your concerns, in terms of your fears, in terms of your excitement, to say, this is what I need as a young woman who is aspiring to join politics. So, thank you so much for those, I don't know whether Sizagele, you've already identified the mentors in terms of the older or more seasoned politicians who will mentor the younger generation politicians, but we want to thank them for taking time to do so, because it's not easy. They also have got their own journeys, their political careers to look at. But also that doesn't mean as a politician, as a young woman in politics, you have other aspirations. You have got your own other full-time career. Maybe you are aspiring to be a lawyer, a business person, or you are still at school even. So these cross-generational dialogues will also help us to identify how to balance the politics, the work that gives us income, as well as family issues, because all of us, maybe we have got family that we need to look after. So we're excited to see the Eswatini journey of the cross-generational dialogues. I also also being implemented in 7 other countries in Africa. So let the model of Eswatini speak for itself. I know that Eswatini is unique on its own, but also there are wonderful young women, there are wonderful, brilliant, older, seasoned politicians who will mentor the younger women. And even the men around us are there to walk with us the journey. Let's not be selfish, because you cannot swallow Eswatini alone. You need to share the issue of leadership with all others. I know some people will say, I'm not sharing my secrets, but if you walk alone, you will walk very fast, but you will fall at the end of the day. But if you are walking as a multitude, then you will achieve the entire goal of making Eswatini prosper in terms of gender parity in politics. Thank you so much, our project director, for this, program director, for this opportunity, and wishing you success for the dialogues forward.
Thank you very much, Sipho-Sami Asumshayele. Okay, she has said a mouthful, and I'd already warned you guys that I talk too much. So to take a break from all of that, we're going to welcome a young woman who is a poet. They didn't give me her profile, but I'm pretty sure that her work speaks for herself. Her name is Bongiwe Wabashong.
My name is Bongiwe Shong, but my poetic name is Enzo, which is my second name. I'm here to deliver a recital entitled My Woman. I think we can all agree that the time for compliance is long gone. It has passed and belongs to another era. So, as I begin my poem, I'd like for each one of you to think deep about it, because it's deep to me. Thank you. My woman, the era of suppression has passed. The moment of fear is long gone. They thought they are burying you, but you grew. You grew with wisdom, with power you reigned. You came, you conquered, you survived. They asked how, they thought it wasn't possible. When they saw you, mouth gasped. They stood in fear. Your pride and fierceness brought them on their knees. Oh dear woman, your fire, your power, what you touch, you leave a mark. Your presence is felt. Oh, what a fiery creature. I'm sure God is proud, watching what you've become. You've come to define your own worth, your own choices. The influence you've brought lights the room. Like the fire you are, you keep those around you warm. You are a full circle. With you is the power to create, mature, and transform. We say Uyimbowoto because indeed you are a pillar. What would come of a home without a woman? You came, you lived, you conquered, because that's who you are. A fighter, a hero, and above all, a woman. Thank you so much.
I'm like, okay, sure. And then he calls it the men's parliament. I don't know why. Anyway, he says they had a conversation at the men's parliament, and yabona umuntu akatokudzelela kahle nakathi ukuthi uyi-activist uqala athi yangiyati ukuthi ungulabo woman but asungulalele. Yeah, sibo woman. So I bit my tongue and I listened to him, and he said, you know, the men are very, very, very concerned about what is happening in this country. He doesn't necessarily speak that way, but it sounds nicer when I tell the story. The men are very, very concerned about what is happening in this country. Pun unintended. And then he says, hi man, Rati. I said, no, kwende again. Uyabona nje le mvele ndiyo ngisazi bank. Hey, sekuphethe umfati. Nalapha kasetko. Hey, sekuphethe umfati. You know, and I said to him, isn't it amazing how you can literally count on one hand the number of women that are steering the ship? And for as long as you can count them on one hand, and for as long as it makes you uncomfortable, then it means because we really need to work towards arriving at an era la Eswatini where it doesn't make the news, you know, that Gciniwe is the prime minister or she's the director of receipts. I'm going deeper. We really need to work towards that kind of Eswatini, because the reality of the situation is this: women are running the show anyway. Angisati leSiswati lesithi bomake baba ingoyoyo, mina ngeSiswati ngathi mina nje ngingandi lekhaya. Kodwa ngishona yini inkulumo lebakhona nangingekho mina. Nakunenkinga ingena endlini kabani? Kagogo, hayi kamkhulu. So we really need to ensure that our core values, even as a Maswati, they permeate into corporate, into sports, into the entertainment sector. But whenever you break those barriers and jump through those hoops, ukhanza njenge boys club, long I understand. Ubabathi ngifakeni phela nami. You find that men have a really strong network. So our next speaker is somebody who's been able to permeate through these barriers and jump through these walls. Her name is Spiwo Wagamasuku. She's an admitted attorney both in Botswana, Nalakai, Eswatini. She's currently employed as the registrar of the High Court. She has worked in the private sector for 4 years before joining the public service. Let's give her a warm round of applause. I'm very, very excited to hear what she has to say.
Sanibonani. Ligama lami nginguSiphiwo Masuku. I am the registrar of the High Court. I've been with the High Court for 4 years. A month ago, I attended an interview. I was invited for an interview, and the interviewer happened to be a man. So I was very prepared for this interview. 20 minutes into it, the man pauses and he says to me, "Lo msebenzi lo wendako akusiwenu madoda." That totally threw me off. I was really prepared for the interview, but he said, "Umsebenzi lo ngaka. How are you able to handle this as a woman?" That got me thinking, what's wrong with me being a woman and being the registrar of the High Court? You know? It got me thinking, is it really that bad, a young woman in a man's world? How are we to, is the society still perceiving women not fit enough to do a man's job? Well, in my view, there is no such thing as a man's or a woman's work. Women have, over the years, managed to rise above it, and they've been able to climb the corporate ladder in what has otherwise been known as male-dominated fields. You know, I was 27 years old when I joined the Times of Swaziland, top management. I have never experienced at that time any form of discrimination. I never, when I joined, when I was actually the human resources manager, legal advisor, and ombudsman for the Times. Until I went to Namibia, I was attending a conference there. Well, it was a training for ombudsmen, and I was the only lady in Namibia. Not only were people worried there to say you are too young to be an ombudsman, but it was they were more concerned about me being a woman. Other than the only challenges that I've faced so far as a young woman in leadership have been to balance my work with hanging out with the girls, with being a mother, with being, I was a wife at some point, with being a wife. Those are the only challenges that I had. Otherwise, when it comes to doing my work, I have not faced any challenges. For me, it's determination. For me, it's staying focused, staying grounded, and knowing exactly what it is that you want. What I want to emphasize, or what I think we should stay away from, in my little experience, is feeding yourself the idea that you're a woman. Therefore, you're not going to be able to do what you're meant to do. What you feed in, what you put in is what you get out. So if you're going to be approaching everything that you do and say, "Mina vele ngingumfati," that is how people are going to perceive you. And that is the treatment that you're going to get. So energies for me, energy is very important for me. Let's take advantage of all the support systems that we have. You'd be amazed at how much support we have. From home, Bosisi, our support system, our sisters, our brothers, our friends. That helps us to get our work done. It's connect balances. Be able to focus on your work and be the best that you can be in whatever it is that you're doing. Try build a strong team. Wherever you are, when you're working, make sure that you be a team leader. And once you have a strong team around you, you will be able to handle any work in the men's world, as they like putting it. All I can say is that go on, beautiful woman. Bring your passion and let's combine it with execution without limits. Passion, execution without limits. I wish to conclude by borrowing from Cherry Blair. Well, they say she is Tony Blair's wife. For me, she's a lawyer and a founder of the Cherry Blair Foundation for Women. She said, as a woman in a men's world, you have to fight for your right to participate on an equal footing. Let's go out there and fight. Let's fight. Fight until we are able to partake in the entire economy equally as men. Acquire new knowledge all the time and work hard all the time. All the best, Bafaz.
So thank you very much. Thank you very much, Nhlani. Now this next speaker is someone that I've known for a very, 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 very long time. And I know that she doesn't remember this, but yes, go find fair. That's what they say in Afrikaans. So I think when I was 13 or 14, thank you. Thank you. So the lady that you see this morning, well, afternoon now, there are a lot of people who've put into the brand or the woman that you're saying today. I think I must have been 13 or 14. We were going to a crusade at Big Bend at my former church. So I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that, but walk with me. So I remember we were going to a crusade in Big Bend from Matapa, and we stopped Kamanzini, to buy water and whatever else. And Bapuma, I think Sapuma Sabuya, and then Tuniwe came back and she gave me a new purse. I know that she doesn't remember this because it's a very long time ago. And she gave me a purse. Her big sister Katz had just bought me my first handbag, I think a week or two before. I think but I'm telling you that story by way of saying that you are the product of all the women who have made an intentional investment in you. So it's not very difficult for me to stand here today and to celebrate and to introduce her because I know her even on a personal level. Epitomizes that. So Tuniwe is a powerhouse. She's an award-winning executive. She was a CEO at the age of 23. Watale Stegi, where she worked for 3 years. She held the fort in Matapa for 14 years. Before Tuniwe entered that picture, Matapa, but she gave structure. That's what a woman does. She walks in and she gives structure. She's now with MTN Eswatini, and she's moved into the telecoms industry. She's now with MTN Eswatini as an executive. Executive is an English word for top boss. Again. She's coming to interrupt me because that's the kind of person that she is, but she has served as the chair of the board, the PSI Eswatini. She's the council member of Limpopo University of Technology. She's the board member of Eswatini Housing Board. She's also the board member of the Town Planning Board, and like me, she's a former St. Michael's girl.
She says thanks for the curse. Program Director Snetemba, it's a pleasure to always
watch. Oh, God, because it
needs to be, can you hold it?
Okay, yeah. I'll hold it, it's okay. It's always a pleasure, Snetemba, watching you do what you do. She sings like no other person. She sings. If you have not heard her sing, she sings. You have grown into an amazing woman. Your mom is blessed. Ngivusele tonke titatanyiswa letikhona honorary protocol in the interest of time, and ngibonge ma organizers for seeing it fit to invite me and Abospio to just come and share, you know, what we have to share. Because I don't think when Spio set about going on her personal journey, neither did I. I don't think we stopped at any point in Spio and said, I want to inspire women. No, we didn't. I think it just all started naming Bizekurusin Lami, trying to be the best that I could be. But Umfundiswami once preached what God sees the thousands and the millions in you. And every time you stand on your own and you are a Snetemba or umage katanzi, awubabona labang million. Ubabona langa ukilega uwa, or something wonderful happens. Then you see what how. You know, when I left Matapa, I have never had to explain myself to strangers on the street. I even stopped one day and asked Swami, did I genuinely believe Bane Malungelo in my life? They really feel invested. And that's when you see, there is a crowd following you. Yeah. There are young women that say, I want to be like Spio, I want to be a lawyer, I want to be in the High Court. I'll born when? Benzing hambe tolopen, manje uyawen. Yeah, we have no sugamatap. Deep down you're thinking, but Mage, I don't owe you. But because people are so invested in your journey and want to follow you, you then become an asset for many. So even as you sit there, trust me, someone is following you. You don't see them, but someone sees your footsteps and is following gently behind you. So you don't have to find a podium, your audience is where you are because people are watching. I remember when I started, and I'm stealing Spio's words because literally it's the same hymn book. Yeah. You know, it's amazing that I'm 43 years old. I have been working for 20 years. In not 20 years, I'm 23. I think about a few months ago, last month actually, I was writing my final exam for my master's lane. There's a reason I'm going there. I have been a CEO for 14 plus 3, 14, 15, 16 and a half years. I have been. But still, today, at my age, I still need to justify to people how I got there and how I made it. Still, trust me. By our bona lama results, bayaya lapha emathapha la beniya khona nani bayabona kunenhluthu iyaduma kusho ukuthi bekunemlilo, but still you will meet someone that feels. So how did you get to Matapa vele nje? Like I'm told bekuma connections. What sisi ngisesikolweni ya? No, that doesn't matter. You will always meet people that genuinely cannot believe you made it, and honestly it is not your portion to convince them. If bangatiboni leti mfakazelo ukuthi bekusetshenzwa la bekuligedfule sekunendlu imile but solo yabuda yakhiwe nguwe lendlu. Listen, I am tired. I do not waste my time with those. I leave them ebumnyameni because kukhona vele labayohlala ebumnyameni ngiyosolo shumayela. But mine really is to continue to motivate that young woman. Kuti, you can be what you want to be. Trust me, there are no barriers. Challenges, yes there are, and plenty. And don't look and think it's easy. Nagathi is pure, I don't have challenges. She has them. Manengi, ngafuna sihlale phansi ngimtshele ukuthi manengi kuweske mawu tiny and gorgeous and you look like pure. They will always link your success to some man sitting in some office or some space. It just cannot be about you. It is hard for people to understand it. Kuthi ngeke man siphiwe ufike njani kuba ngiregistra. Ngeke, there must be a man seated. It is part of the journey, ladies. It still happens to me. Bufakazi bunengi niyabona emathapha but still ngeke gciniwe njani. So you've got to find a way, a few things to have in your bag, gay women. Now me, I'm going to give you my own advice. Number one, mangqale steging at 23. People had to break me for me to know how to move broken. So there's nothing wrong with people doubting you and second guessing you. They are helping you. They will break you to the point that nothing else will ever break you after. You mean you can't gossip about me now and see me shrink and sit in a corner. I don't care anymore. They did it when I was 23. No gossip you have on me now will change me. They've broken me early enough. Unenhlanhla mabakuphula 14. Unenhlanhla mabakuhleba 12. Unenhlanhla bakuhleba useseng-secretary ngoba usathi mawukhuphuka ukhuphuke so right. Basi mabakuhleba songasesiye secretary song administrator uthi been there done that. Basi nabakuhleba song head of department uthi try better. Uthi mawufika uba ngi-CEO bakuhleba uthi guys please man get new gossip man. So it's fine, ladies, let them break you, it's okay. Mina, you can't break me now. You did that when I was 23. Ngilenda estegi, ngi excited, Bofana, you don't understand. I had been looking for a job for a year. Ngibuya eVet University, nginema degrees too. At 23, guys, I decided to come back to my country intentionally. Ngathi ngifuna ke ekhaya mina ngiyosebenza khona. My classmates lebengifunda nabo eVet both man graduator, and my headhunters would come and recruit la sikolweni. I had job offers in city of Pretoria, city of Joburg, I will never forget. I decided ngibuyela kithi. I want to go home. Joburg was too much for me. Imagine all of those sacrifices lo wenda wethu nosekoneni. Kukodwa lokuthi ngithe mangicetha e-high school ngahamba ngayeJozi kude batali kunganalutho. Ngihlala emaflatini simaswati sikrema nesibe labo 6 eflatini ya 2 room. Ngifuna i-degree. Kukodwa lokho. People don't care about that. Frankly, they won't even ask. Uyabuya uhlubetekile ngenhlitiyo nangempilo usihlale wetfana ngihle nidla sinkwa, you come back home and you are thinking this is the land. These are the people that must celebrate me. These are the ones that know my story. These are the ones labathi ukuthi ngimphanda mfundisi fakuthi namakefa ukuthi basebele true pack. Ngiyayibona le true pack mos. Ngiyayathi nonke. Ngikhuliswe ngiyo mina. Ngihlala ngwane park bantu bakethu. Angiphumi mina embabane Beverly Hills. Angaye Waterford. Ngiyela St. Michael's. You come back to that crowd you think understands your journey and you think they'll carry you and celebrate you as a young woman. Uyaqala estekuna 23. The first story that comes out is ingabe ujolana bani afika ngithole lo msebenzi lo. Ube bathi uyacabanga ubathi uphakamisa amaphepha akho degree manini guys. Bukani phela ngibuye eVet Susan now uyazabuya. No one cares. You're a woman. There must be someone you're sleeping with. Ngeke. So bathi manini bonini. Ubathi uyayimephi ijeni yakho. People don't care. So gear up, women. It's going to get hard before you get there. Toughen up, man. Mina, they broke me at 23. You can't break me now. Ngiyakubuka nje zamahada, man. Number one. Number two, get people around you that will speak to all the facets of your life. Which it was pure what you need to balance things as a woman. Ungabi strong as an executive, bese uyathamba ka mother. Bese uba weak ka friend. Hopeless as sister. Terrible as mom. Balance it. You must have people that feed all the sections of your life. You must have women that challenge you to keep doing school, to want another degree. Instead of ngicela le masters ngathi wabangishayela umngane wami lo ngudokotela. Saliseni doctorate ke ngathi awugayi man sekujani manje. Ngisaphumula. But ugatselo lokho yena. Khona lo gatselo lokunye, khona lo gatselo lokunye. Have a balance of people in your life. You don't need 100, even if it's 1. Khona lefuna ucubunge ngemthandazo. Noma ngabe ngingemsebentini, it's got nothing to do with umthandazo. 1 + 1 akuphumi 2. Basina labanye amababala lo 1 + 1 yena uyancusa. You need that. And I'm standing mina because I have that fair balance of people. Abasiba ngakudingeka ibe crowd, but they are there, ladies. Almost finally, Ushitos Piu, what to keep building yourself. You see, as a woman, your challenge is double that of a man, and that's the reality. As it's in ourselves equal. No. You need to speak louder. Something must turn their eyes. And that's the reality of it. Because there's few of us inside. So the few that are in there, something. You can't get in quietly and stay quietly in there. You must create enough noise for you to keep the seat. So you can't keep the seat if you are not improving yourself. Some people can afford not to, but some of us cannot afford not to. Where I need to get as a woman needs me to keep developing myself. I'm not content with what I have. And because I genuinely believe that when people ask me, last comment so don't stop where you are. If you started as a businesswoman, think about a third. If you think sugar, that's development. If you need a degree, certificate. You don't have to go for another degree, but a certificate 3 months. It does something to your CV. Don't sit still as a woman. Keep adding skills. It makes you indispensable, and we don't need to validate why we are there, but it allows your foot to keep moving forward. Because for me to move forward, and people start believing, damn, so keep at it, women. I have so much faith in women, and I genuinely believe that we have so much more that we can do. And I genuinely also believe that mine ngiyilwa ngedfana nebomake kanye kanye. But ngiyathi lenzima ledlalwa ngimi. Inkulu kabi make. Nawe dlala yakho, phusha le yakho. Now phusha le yakho. Bese siyakuhlanganisa. It's a huge explosion. Thank you very much for inviting me, and God bless you all.
She says, don't sit still. It makes you indispensable. That's my greatest takeaway. Kuthi kufuna kube nendlela ube ngiyasithanda Swati. Kufuna ube nebuciko bekwenta info lekuhlukanisako, lekuhlungako nakunesicumbi around you. That's a personal principle that I'm taking away from what Glewan said. And you know, it is so true. Ooh, bantu technology. Sorry. Hi. Hi. It's so true what Glewan has said. For those of you who don't know, I work as a broadcast journalist. And, you know, I'm always observing the quality of conversations that we have in the newsroom, although I might be breaking privilege a bit. Go appoint MD was Eswatini Bank. I get very excited because I'm just that girl, like, oh, Eswatini Bank is a new MD, it's Mazizwe. Siyabonga. I'm like, but this woman's track record speaks for herself. Like Glewan was saying, you can trace, wayalapha, you know, and people will be very non-committal. My comments are, what is your, no, I say, I'm wamlelo. Uyakuvala ukubonga sekunelinyevu. Hayi siyambongela nanga bangene kahle. You know, there's always that, you know, insinuation and innuendo. Acha ngithulithulise ngoba ngafakaza le newsroom ngathi ngisizisiwe. Funa bese kuphatha kahle. Sebabeka Tabetse la Isera. Angisabi beksa ngayo because I know him personally. He's the new Chief Executive Officer for Eswatini Regulatory Authority. Bayambeka ke umkholo sikhumbuzo Tabetse. Sengiyabuyela newsroom ngiyogada ngeve ama comments phela ngoba nakhona ngithi board chairperson is a lady. Kuva kuthi yena ke watibani sekude inkulumo. So I'm telling all these stories as a roundabout way of saying, well, see, as a woman, you have to jump 10 times as many barriers to get to a place that men just wake up, take a shower, and naturally get to. So keep moving, don't stand still. Now this next speaker, I think there was anything in the as in, stroke God, as in, as in, she's my cousin for real, for real. But when she gets up here, you will see the resemblance because it's uncanny. Her name is Hlopsile Waradlamini. She's a passionate gender activist who has, for the past 15 years, dedicated her energy towards empowering women and girls and challenging the negative social constructs that have disadvantaged women for years. I could go on. Her profile is quite prolific. But I will allow you to experience Hlopsile for yourself. Shayilani umzala tanto.
Ngiyabonga mzala. Good afternoon, ladies. I would like to observe all protocol. I was hoping I would be given a topic of sharing my experience in terms of women's leadership. But I think I got one of the most difficult topics. And what makes it difficult is trying to address it in 15 minutes. Who am I, or who are you as a woman? I usually say we are a beautiful mess of a cocktail of different ingredients as women. We are who we have been told we are. We are who we have heard we are. We are who the media has said we are. We are who society has crafted us to be. But most importantly, we are who we have liberated ourselves to be. Ngiyangifundise ngetopic lethi uyatati yini wena kwekuthungibani, which is reaching a point of self-actualization, knowing yourself. And in knowing yourself, you first of all know where you're coming from in order for you to recognize where you are today. Uma udati ke lokuthungibani, udati from birth, ukuthi udaleke kanjani. I am a girl, ngitalwa nguLazwane, who is the only girl out of 7 boys. Uyashada Lazwane at 18 years and she gets divorced at 21 years. She meets another man. Uyahlala for years akasatali. Until utala Hlopsile. Many years later. Ufika Hlopsile uba ligugu lelikhulu la ekhaya. 7 boys niyabona mos umfana wentombazana la ekhaya. From the moment I journey into the world, I meet so much love and excitement as a basis, as an entry point. That is the first warmth and kind of energy that embraces me into the world. And that is the first thing that will define where ngidawuba ngubani mina. Are we together? The question is, utaleke kanjani wena? Because how you come into the world is the first embrace that you get. Uniketwa libito lelithi ngubani? Sounds like a simple thing, but libito liyamlandzela umuntu. For us women of faith, we know we prophesy a journey. Nasinika umuntu igama. Ngihlobisile hayi lo wekudecorator. Ngihlobisile wekuclearisha uthi gogo umntanami lo waphuma emenveni kuthiwa uyinyumba namhla ulihlobisile libito lakhe. You understand? So providing clarity, clearing the air. That is a name. Lelitamlandzela umuntu. Ngiko bosiphesihle. Ukhanza kwethu even in life, they bring that kind of energy of beautiful things and achievements because the name suggests a specific journey or prophecy for them. Are we together? Singing t-shirt. So ngithanda come along class. Birth order utele waba wesingaki. I'm the firstborn, deputy parent. Responsibility is the first thing that I learned from a young age. Deep iqatfulo tathando ngiyambona online. Deep iqatfulo tathando sewudlile inbanele. You learn to be responsible from a young age. Nasingena la ungakabekwa ngumuntu sesiva ngalo. No, asiqale gcwalisa the back seat and you're thinking, how? Ngena headgonsa. No. Utayele nje keep order, Elizabeth. That's it. Birth order. Firstborn tendencies. Lastborn tendencies. Born when there was everybody else to help out. Noma siteti la sewudlile Elizabeth isele plate. Tawufuna kuthathela nje utayele kusitakala. Middle child, the invisible one. Kayithi kunama kwahlobi nababa wahlobi. If for any reason it's not that, ngumakwabanele the last born. Thando, good umvloga waga wathi kunama kwathando noma kunababa wathando. So the middle child becomes invisible. And they begin to have extreme behaviors, either good or bad. Ngibani loklinela ngithando, ngibani lokugeza titsha ngithando, leligama seliyavela, angithi. Or kube opposite. Khala umntwana ngibani ngithando. Lo sathethe tinvo angakanikwa ngibani ngithando. He wants to be recognized. Utelwe into a family lenjani lenama value systems lathini. I was born into a family la khona degree in form 5 khulele khabo maki in form 5 nje baze babute nanginemsebenzi hawu sola nikafunzi hlobo solo nihledi lithi cabangelana labalandzelako ngemuva kuthi umlonga siqedza isikolo khayikisi utawufuta abani. The pursuit is for education and excellence. That is the value system that you're born into. Kulamanye value system kwenza. Now ungagenzi you become insignificant like I. Now ungakalotsholwa there's no value. Labanye kungena kuma forces. Babe lomkhulu lisotsha, lomunye uliphoyisa, lomunye ulwati. That's the value system. The society from which you're coming from. Ukhulele kuphi? Sakhe etimbutini ekhaya. Etimbutini na ubona umntana lo intelligent ufisa kumthatha and go and place them elsewhere. Because bantwana bakhona bayamitha abasiqeda isikole. There's no motivation for any other child to be anything different. Labatelo around the army barracks batawat 80% of our girls bamithiswa masocha. That's the you know the in thing. Utelwe wabasivesini. I'm a Swazi woman. I'm completely different from a Xhosa woman, from a Nigerian woman. But now ufuna nje kuthatha umfati bodwa Eswatini because we're this docile nation akiri. Thina nje satilungela asilwi. So it's a combination of those things. Utelwe in which generation? Young ladies, asambeni kanye kanye. 1950s to the 1960s, we have them in the room. They are called the loyal generation. Bomage bethu who understood that the fundamental value of life is loyalty and nothing else. Imishado sayigcina ngabo. They would stay noma mkhulu wakho abemshaya 7 days a week uyahlala emsebentini ngilebe bahlala baze bathengelwe liwashi thiwe buka sikhasi leso simoshe la. Their fundamental value of life is loyalty. Kubo, it is not about how I'm treated or what I'm getting. Logumkoga kubo yin yi loyalty. 60s to the 70s. Saifunze animal farm. Wagna boxer. Shem angathi ngente politics asinje mina I will work harder. That's the boxer generation, a generation of hard working women. Development in the communities, when you speak of building schools, social centers, emakhaya bekwalindvothi hambile emuka nelijozi umfati wakhona uyalakha alikhaya. They believe the fundamental value of life is hard work. They have worked and they believe working hard work pays off. 70s to the 80s. A lot of the women in leadership right now are within that range. 70s to the 80s. This is the now generation. I want us to understand this because it speaks to the differences that we have as individuals and as women, even though we are pursuing the same agenda. This is called the now generation, Nevermore, N-O-W. This generation of men and women believe things should happen here and now. Uthola umsebenzi, asebenze 6 months. If it doesn't work, uyaresigna, athathe isikhwama sakhe ahambe. Kuthi ushade nguplas khona Hilton ngemshado wa 123,000. If next year it is not working out, we do not have a problem. We walk. That's the now generation. We believe things should happen here and now. I'm 3 years, I'm enrolling into the next thing. That's who we are, that generation. Silanzelwe 90s to 2000. IT generation. This generation was born into a world of technology when everything was technological. Even their thinking and their sense of behavior is influenced by technology. It's a technology, very simple. It's in 3 steps. It's input, process, and output. Their understanding of life is that simple. Ngifuna kucenza la ngaphandle, no sitawucenza make. Sebo 7 ilanga no sitawucenza make. Sebo 10 ngiselele make ngidawucenza ufuna ngicenze. Nga 4 nawubuya kutabe kucenziwe wena ufuna kucenza I will wake up at whatever time that I wake up ndawucenza and when you find the product. I don't understand what we're quarreling about. Emsebenzini inzaba 8 o'clock ngumzansi. They don't understand ubanikete i-project and in their mind they have laid it out kahle but I implementa kanjani. Aba-understand lokho sisobafoselele lansi bafike nga 8 o'clock because noma bangafika nga 10 le ndaba baplane ngayo they will input, process and output. Ukhulume nge-dress code. Siya ku-community emabhuluko lanje labo sisendela la. Serious? Ngilangibone khona lami ukuthi usho simnyaka seyihambile. Ngeva bangikhuluma ngambasi lo makelo yakaze ha. Bengiye ngisukume ngisame young woman. Yalo sengiva abantu basi lo makelo ya. By a community, by your deliver whatever, they believe they have the message, but understand why you are frustrating them with dress code. That's the IT generation. And then we move down, 2000 down. It's a mid-generation, very interesting generation of young men and women. A selfish generation that was born into a world of abundance. Bakhanze sekukhona konke. Shem bacabanga nje bese simele bona kuphela. Not really, guys. We're glad you're here, but not really. Very unfortunately, a generation of people where life revolves around me. Bomake nje batangivakahle lekhaya Nsinsahleti nibukela TV, chamuka umuntu athi cha fashintsha channel, hawu. Makwami onje osibukela nobe ngisafuna ukuchecka, and you're like, serious? So the 5 of us don't really matter, it's just you. Ngileli bandla lelithi nalifika ekitchen liphakela drumstick, ne-thigh, neliphiko, ninendatsotha ngalo lokusela. When you talk to them, the consistent response is, Ani understand. Mine, I have issues. Upemelane esikolweni, no, guthi mine, I have identity issues. Don't we all have? Sesingamba sibhemele etulu nje ezaba my identity issues. Why am I drawing this? We need to understand that despite how different we are, we need to coexist. We have to coexist and embrace each other's differences. Nangisemshadweni longa ngisebentele ngibuya make khathamzi ngithi emake lendvodza angisayikhona. Her first response from the loyal generation is, Emendweni mthanami kuyabeketela. It should not confuse me once I understand the context where she's coming from. Uthi mzala wami wagibela ibhasi aphethe ama-suitcase akhe sekathi uyayishintsha uthi usengafike ngehla ibhasi iyojika ngesheya uthi weta make bathi mntwanami kwente njani uthi ngakhala kakhulu sengibona make angisayifuni le ndvodza usengathi wathi make iphi ika manzi ufika ngani nebhasi iphi iyojika ngesheya wathi very good nayibuya nje mntwanami sishedulu ubuyela kakho ngemgcibelo ngidakulandzela ntovalo yamfana kusiwendani la kuwe. Do you understand the difference? She doesn't love her any less, but that's the generation that she belongs to. Uyatatini wena ukuthi ungubani, because it's this cocktail of combinations that have crafted you. But who you are today, for me, should be more than any other contributing factor, be the person that you've liberated yourself to be. Because there's so many things that are going to hold you back. Physically, how you look. High school, I only discovered in high school in fact, I didn't discover, I was told. And in there I was misinformed. And I started getting worried. I would be cautious of what I wear. And I just woke up one morning and said, I cannot be worried about things that I see and things that I cannot see. By accepting and embracing who I am, I learn to love myself a little bit better, so that I'm then able to love and accept the other woman. So noma ume ngalayikelen ngami nimole masiqinile noma ume layikelen kwami I'm not bothered, because I got to a place of peace, of love, of acceptance. And as a woman, that is who I am. It may not be where I want to be, but that is who I am. And the moment I accept who I am, I allow myself the freedom of being whatever or whoever I want to be. I usually wear a wig like so, but today I decided, my son said, are you sure you're going to a meeting with your hair? I said, yes. Today I'm going to wear my hair like this, because some of the things that have held us back is putting ourselves in certain boxes. My 16-year-old daughter always says, normal parents. I don't think I'd manage with a normal parent. Girl, I've learned to be anything that I want to be. Yeah. And it has allowed me to see, hear, and pass and learn so many other things from the younger generations. Tinena 16-year-old wami ngathi sibosisi. The things that we talk about, the things that we share, and that is where the baton begins to be handed over. Singeke siqale la emsebentini sesi-formal sesithetha sesi-busy ngemsebenzi nema-pressures to mentor them. We begin at that age. As Nethemba said, the discussion needs to go back home. And for me, ladies, I want us to remember, if just one thing from what I said, a woman is who she has liberated herself to be. Thank you.
Yo, Umzala said a mouthful. Nothing breaks my heart more than going into a meeting and one speaker after another, Mama Kuluma, about vulnerability. They're constantly with their words and the results of their research painting the picture of a young woman. Mas Kuluma about the people who are most at risk populations of getting HIV. It's young women. And not just young women from the rural areas. It's young women in urban communities as well. Because young women are under so much pressure. Funa udelishia girl. Jana love me boy. Yes, yes. Yes, it takes practice. You need to look a certain way. You need to speak a certain way. You need to be relevant. You need to go viral on your content. You have so much pressure as a young woman, and unfortunately, you're just only starting to discover yourself. The woman that I was at 19 is totally different from the woman that I was at 29. Totally different from the woman that I am now, 29 and a half. All I'm trying to say is that there's so much pressure on women to evolve, to become, to be present, and it's so easy to get lost in the mix of all those things. I hope that the young women who are in this room, no wonder, Eta, that's my friend, no wonder. She's my friend. Yes. No wonder likes she likes wearing short skirts. I hope you have a fresh appreciation today for where your right to continue to wear that skirt came from. Because Magamavimbela Bate Parliament, I did get in January never. Not on my watch. That's the kind of legacy that we want to be able to pass on to our young women, to our children. The freedom to become the woman that you have liberated yourself to become. One of the things we're always faulted for as big sisters, so I'm going to allow a young woman, Gosepayo, to come up and tell us her side of the story.
I don't know. Okay.
All protocol observed. Yeah, I am nervous here. Standing before you is Gumetsa Ngosapayo. I'm actually a public relations student from Limpopo, but then I'm one of the lucky students that got an opportunity to intern at an organization that empowers young women. So after my internship, they extended my contract and they made me part of the family. That is why I'm standing in front of you guys right now. So, yo, bakhulumile bo Miss Kaniwe, nabosipiwo. Yeah, ne gahanja. But all I can say is that the challenges that we're facing now, challenges face Nyalo, the ball is actually in our court. Right now, we can actually be whatever that we can be. Nyalo, I am blessed and honored to know that I actually started my journey at 20 years. At 20 years, I'm actually standing in front of you guys and talking. So I'm just glad and I'm ready to take it. You know, But then still, akhona lama challenges leswafacako as young women, like Miss Natemba said, peer pressure. Yo, loku bafake tingalo, nami ngifuna kutifaka nyalo. And bese le focus yethu iyasuka. Now we tend to look for immoral ways tekuthola imali instead of going ngale ndlela lefanele sihambe ngayo. Sengifuna ukuthola imali ngetindlelana letithide ukuze ukuthi ngizobamba standard. Nami mangithi ngifaka lishiya ngathi ukuthi ngibhale lishiya le right. And then ukhanze ukuthi sometimes as a young woman, like I remember mangisafuna internship. One day I met this man and then young Buddha was okay, so what are you busy with? I'm like, okay, I just finished my semester 6, so semester. Oh, I just finished my semester 5, so semester 6 for internship. And he was like, okay, stick with me, ube girlfriend yami, your internship journey will be easy. So for me to get internship, I have to be his girlfriend. Not go to tang say oh, okay, sis, and like say for the internship. He wants me to be my girlfriend. Look, sometimes when you're trying to climb your corporate ladder, men, oh, injani ubuke idress yakho ukuthi ime kanjani. So those are the challenges that we face as young women as we are trying to climb our ladders. So and then na Miss Flopsile ukhulumile, you know, about understanding. Bayangihleka musenzo bathi ngihlale ngithi abangi-understand, because honestly vele nyalo indlela lesesiphila ngayo thina ayisafani. So uma kakhuluma nami makwami ukhanze ukuthi angiseve ngiva ngathi akangiva vele akeva nokuthi ngithini. So I'd say our seasoned women, but never, when they're talking to us, they should be more accommodating and more understanding of what's the thing was at the. I remember I was in a meeting in M17 and we were talking about a social media campaign that we want to launch. So it's okay, one of the social media pages that we can use, guys, is Twitter. And nabaya lapha emuva nje nyalo bayangibuka bathi bona no thina sathi Facebook sifuna Facebook. And I'm like, no guys, in 5 of my friends 2 bakhona ka Twitter, you know, 5 okay, lo 3 ukhona ka Facebook. So if we 7 is a Facebook phela angeke sabathola laba ka Twitter. So luckily for me, they were able to understand and take that idea, because if abazange bayithathe confidence yami seyifile, you know. Next time bathi phaya sicela opinion, you were like, oh guys, nginivele ngingilaleli. So those are just the challenges that we face as young women. But njengoba ngisho mina, the women labakhulumile la basitshengisa bona ukuthi akusekho likhulu ngale ndlela bekulikhulu ngayo. If you want to do something, you actually have to step up and do it. Nyalo akusafani nakatheni guys, akusafani. We have Google, we have the internet. Now, whenever you want to do something, you just go to Google, search with how do I do this? Like Miss Gunofa was saying, that 3-month certificate is going to go a long way, I'm telling you. Because nale competition yanyu, manga kama public relations student nakangwana, ile mgokweni kikitanga kama public relations student. So mangohlala nale associate degree yami lenayo nyalo ngirelaxe, batangishi ndawusana. So I'm just going to say, women, let's do this. Thank you.
So we've come to a very interesting part of why we're here today. I'm going to introduce our guest speaker. Mage Bela Katams, ngifuna profile, ngifuna gilati kutse mage ngamhlas. But while I'm looking for a profile ya Mage, I also want to encourage us, Kutsi. So much has been said here today. We've had advice. People have shared their experiences. There's no time like, oh, okay, imagine, bayang correct bang tronsa ngal job. Mane ngizama kum-avoid amake do ucela ingoma man ngani ngisayipheka, but it's fine. After make do apani. I'm going to sing. So this next speaker is someone who she really needs no introduction. If you've been in Eswatini, if you know what is Buyapina women's movement and women empowerment and making our voices and our presence felt and serving our generation and being proud and wearing your femininity with strength and pride and dignity and integrity, her name is so synonymous to all those things. So she's going to be addressing us virtually. Yes, what I think is virtually, yes. She's going to be addressing us virtually via Zoom.
Ngiyabonga kakhulu. Thank you for having me. Director of ceremonies, we are surprised Benfinta a little later, but I am fine. And I want to recognize presentations made by everyone before me, all positive with so many, many lessons. I'm one person who learns continuously. Director of ceremonies, I wish I were just you. Ungasho bo aphane, ungasho area, no, naming a country, naming a education level and so on, ungasho age yam. Because all these things, honestly, at the end of the day, and allow me, Director of Ceremonies, to say that the personal is political. Personally, I come from a family ageism. By ageism, I mean people live for really, really long. Biologically, close relation, the eldest currently is 95, the youngest is a few months old. So when we're talking about intergenerational, for me, operating, working intergenerationally, honestly comes like second nature. It's natural because one lives amongst many generations, and I can't quite give a cutoff point where they start and where they end. Like I said earlier, we also ought to be careful because sometimes it's stereotyping. If I can mention, if you allow me, Director of Ceremonies, gangitiva tikitenu as young women, my thinking is just liberal. I observe, I will give an example of relationships. What I observe 20-year-olds, 30-year-olds, 40-year-olds taking, honestly, even on my dying bed, I would not take, but I see them taking. But of course, because time is of the essence, let me quickly come to that. When we are talking about being a cross-generational leader, we are talking about understanding that the people, your constituency comprises of many generations. And these generations themselves, you cannot say exactly this one starts where and ends where, and the generations themselves, they are changing. You also need to understand that there is no generation which has franchise knowledge. Good, register if franchise at international or local level. When it comes to IT, you have to be 22. You have to be 18 to 28. Oh no, there's no such a franchise. When it comes to experience, you have to be 48. There is no such. As far back as when I was in my late teens, early 20s, even at university. By the way, I was the same class as the current CJ. They called me Justice Schreiner, the opposing judge, they used to say. They would tell a lecturer, let's not take this decision because Justice Schreiner is not here. Justice Schreiner was a South African judge who most of the time dissented. But on the appeal court would agree with Justice Schreiner and the reasons that Justice Schreiner had given. So what I'm getting at is that please can we feel free when we are a cross-generational leader, when you're a leader, you feel free to bring to the space who you are, what you have. A cross-generational leader understands that knowledge, skill resides across the generation. And therefore, whilst carrying the vision ahead, because it's vision, and as a feminist, meaning understand that vision. We want inclusivity. We want Bogrini, Boss P, Bo Shopsile, all that have spoken before me, not to say these hurting things that they have been saying, because now they are hurting, they are real. But we want things to change. They will change. We change the institutions, we change the laws, we change even internally, starting with from family level. A cross-generational leader understands the realities of all. If we are talking about women, understand that women are heterogeneous. See me yiba yiba. You cannot ever define me by my age only. I'm 1,001 other things, and I will surprise you. And all of those things, a combination of those, that's what makes me. So rather a intergenerational leader understands that people are different, but that difference is used positively. That power is harnessed in a positive way. And such a leader uses that power to transform, because at the end of the day, why do we want women? Why do we want to field women in their numbers in parliament and other corridors of decision making? It's so that they can get there with the understanding the lived realities of women in this patriarchal society, and make sure that they change. So the focus should be on the goals, validating the knowledge that everyone is bringing. And of course, a cross-generational leader needs to understand when they have power. If you have power and you don't understand power, it becomes a little dangerous. It's important to understand when you have power and choose how you want to use the power. Do you want to use it with the people, over the people? I want to believe that you want to use it positively. You want to have you want to have power, exercise power with the people. So therefore, if you are a cross-generational leader, you understand that all generations have something to bring in. They learn from each other, and the learning should always be lifelong. It's like when you're talking about mentorship. For me, I learn a lot from those that believe that I'm mentoring them. And from the word go, I stated that I'm here to learn, just like you believe you are here to learn. It's an exercise that goes both ways. I want to thank Women in the Law in South Africa Trust for hosting this generation. And I want to encourage all of us to understand that we are sisters, and be the sisters keepers that you are. A lot of what you know, I may not know, but there is some knowledge that I have, and I am your keeper. I would also want to implore us, through Women in the Law, maybe we can distribute the African feminist charter. I like it where it talks of expectations of a leader, like a disciplined work ethic. Allow me, Madam Director of Ceremonies, I like the way you are directing this ceremony, but allow me to say I was really taken aback by the late start. As leaders, please, can we not do such? I sat here for a whole hour waiting for this to start. We are pointing at those in government. We are pointing at this one and that one. We must remember that the other four fingers are pointing at us. So we must just start to walk the talk. And we must expand working multi-generationally. Make Khatamzi ngiyavusela lapho nalabanye lase kulukunisho nokusuka emakhaya, but through a phone or whatever other means, it's important that we consult them. Their knowledge remains valid. And mentoring is important, but nobody should think they have a franchise. Simply because in age I'm older does not give me a right to matronize others. And solidarity is most important. Those who are young, I don't know where young begins, number 18, number 80, wherever young begins and wherever young ends, we are in solidarity. Those who are aged, wherever it begins and ends, sonke sibeni in solidarity. Thank you very much. Power to women.
Program Director, I think I should start telling the truth. And the truth is, while I'm here, my children are shaking in South Africa, all of them. I had to battle with each one of them, asking for permission. Just imagine asking for permission to come and be with you all. And it looks like they've really put their acts together to make sure that we don't move out of the bed. So they just asked me one question. Uma ke sekubambile le COVID, batangcwaba yini labantu bakho, labangani bakho. That is the real life we're living. So when you talk about moving out to the country right now, we have many questions. But my view is that so much has been laid out already in all the parts of the country. And that's what I feel I should be raising a few points, because we have been doing that together with WLSA. We have been doing that with other countries, and in particular, Sweden. I'm happy that my colleague Tapsile is here, because we've walked the world through the support of Sweden, which today is still in Africa, helping the 8 countries to actually now walk, I call it the last mile, because I feel that if we pull together with us, the youth, the younger generation, we will definitely have achieved the goal. So today, my objective is mainly to touch a few points. The points which created unity to the women. And as far as we're concerned in Swaziland, there is no age grouping. Once you are a woman, you are a woman. There is no saying you are young. Maybe because we tend to leave the imbali at the side, we can talk about younger generation. But in reality, everyone is out there in all the parts of the country trying to make sure that everyone is capacitated to know about life and to participate in making sure that they can live fruitfully in the country. I'll only mention one experience. The experience I'll mention, I'll leave the other ones. You all remember Elizabeth Shongwe and those who actually started the Vote for a Woman campaign. You have many others with the United Nations putting in money here and there. But I would like to applaud the action of His Majesty King Sobhiza II, who actually at the beginning of our independence looked at the way women were relaxed, shy, not even attending meetings. And at that time, it was taboo to go into the council in the chiefdoms and participate as a woman. So we are now really fortunate in that we are in an era where it's not as hard as it was before. You can go to any chiefdom and you will be welcomed. Bring your message and make sure that it's clear. So for me, I think the route for this project is ripe, and it will depend on how we put our act together to make sure that everybody who is out there participates freely. We have also, as a country, done very well. We have adopted, and in many instances, we have not only adopted, we are implementing and domesticating some of the protocols which are vital to make sure that we move forward. I doubt if there's still anybody who doesn't understand what SIDO is, what the what the SDGs are. And so for us, it's just to move ahead together and look at who is being left out in this program. I recall very clearly when the constitution of the nation was being put together. Women were not going to the chiefdoms to listen to how the commission was actually handling the debates or in the constitution. But the United Nations and other donors made sure that we had the resources to go out. I think 8 such workshops were held, 2 in each region, just to make sure that this would be wider. And some of the questions that we're battling with today, I'll leave the 50-50 participation, because there we've really failed as women in Swaziland. But just look at the other issues which are in the Constitution. That document is now, for most of our women, especially the young, history. They don't even have it on a shelf, and yet it contains crucial issues which have to be put forward to the dialogues that we are launching today. So I think I shouldn't spread what is already known by you in this house to lengths, because time is also very important. We have rules right now. We shouldn't be here for longer than 2 hours. So you'll pardon me for doing that, cutting some of the issues out. But what is important is that we should look for areas, in my view, where we can now do the dialogues and look at a wider participation of leadership which can be competent enough to actually give the right type of issues to the youth. I feel as a country personally here we have failed in the education system, for example, especially at the tertiary level. We could already be having dialogues going on there about basic questions. What is politics? I remember us for a long time arguing, ukuyiphi lona iphathi? Ngoba phela asikhulume manje ukuthi asinawo. Siyasebenta, we work together as women, and we don't even take a pen to actually explain one word. What is politics? Why is it necessary? What is democracy? Asibukhulumi lokho ngoba sithi akukhulumi. But we can use the platform of the education system to inject certain issues within the curriculum of the education system. And not only that, as we go along, we could also bring some of the big ideas that are coming out of the United Nations, where most of our leaders are always participating, and make sure that the implementation of some of these protocols is being taken seriously. I know that as early as when we had, I think it must have been Prince Makosini as Prime Minister, we lobbied together with Bomage Mziniso, Bomage Hlophe, for creation of just a powerful office, which could even be a bureau or be a ministry or a commission. Depends on how resources in the country are. And up to date, we have a tiny little gender coordination and family issues unit. How many officials do we have there? 3. And most of the time, actually it was 2 across the years. But those officers, I wish to actually applaud it because they did their best to push the agenda of gender equality forward. Next to that, I would like to also put one word towards our elections. There are so many threats to women candidates during the, even as I stand now. Icase yamake lo abulawa la eSpotosini angayiboni ngisho emaphepheni. Not even the media is interested, and for a tiny position kokuthi lo maka bewine kuba buqopho. And the whole women fraternity ayisho lutho ibinzile. So how do you expect women to vote for people to go and be killed, number one? Or shall I say, for people to opt to take leadership positions? Kunenki, there has been many groups in the country, savings and credit clubs, who are nyalo njengoba kuya December, stawuva kusibebelwe thousands etimali. Abasena lutho ngoba they were sharing and somebody just pulls down like a hawk, thathe le mali abaleke. But as a group of women in Swaziland, siyehluleka nje kwenta sikhwama lesincane nje lesitawusita labo, those who are aspiring to be candidates. Futhi nje ingathi kukhona kungathembeki kwethu sibomake. Angathi ke siyabatshelani abancane ngoba mase silapha eboxini sekude lama vote. So uyatbuta ukuthi asashonephi lama vote. So these are the issues I feel we should think about. Utabatshelani lalabancane uma kwawena awuthembeki lasufikele sowukhetha lo yababe lo. Lo make futhi awumkhumbuli nokuthi naye has done something ngema resources zakhe to actually campaign walahlekelwa. You don't even support by dropping just a little to make sure that the campaign asikhulumisani. Mina noma ngingazeni sinbuzo ngifica asikhulumisani. I've been more than from 1996 up to today. I'm still in the Luthango Lakangwane executive. But angiva nje noma kanye kuthiwe lapha kuleya community leya kuleya nkundla leya bafuna kusukume nangimake na. Otherwise we would be more now than the 4 which were put forward in the constitution. Yini nje 4 uma tinkundla tingaki? 59. It shows that somewhere we are failing, ladies and gentlemen. Very important. Do we visit our sisters? Tapsile, ngabe basavakashela, nathi asisayi kodwa. Women Parliamentary Caucus. We had in the past a powerful tool to actually go out and lobby for funding because of the Women Parliamentary Caucus. Sasihamba siye ngisho kubo Zambia, SADC, wherever, to make sure that we ask for money to support. And our women come out in large numbers. About 600 we've experienced in each region. Now, Nani WLSA, I'm sure you can bear witness to this. Basukuma bonke, bangene, more than this room. But bonke sifuna kuyelikhethweni sitsheleni siye njani. You spend your time, ufundzisa, wenda njani njani, ukhopha nalabanye to make sure the guidance is relevant. Nasesifike emphakathini sebabinzile bona laba besinabo la. Trying, I don't know how we can actually meet that problem. And then, very important, some of the areas where we actually have the youth, we have people like Magestela Bukele, Liguma, and I hope this project will embrace that as well. Both Liguma and Lisang, to increase self-esteem of the youth. Bafune kungena kule tinto labatibonako nabo kokuthi they are going to be crucial in their lives. A special thanks, I think, should be given, ladies and gentlemen, to the Embassy of Sweden in Addis Ababa. Actually, it's not the first time we see Sweden coming into the country, small as it is. From the year 2003 up to the year 2008, we marched the whole country of Sweden, meeting different women there under the Social Democratic Party. They had established an office right here in Johannesburg and were taking care of members of parliament from each one of the SADC countries. I learned and had close contact, and I saw how Honorable Tapsile Mavimbela is powerful. She has been holding a hotbed there at Spofane. But she is still holding her ground and moving forward. And that's the spirit which would like to incur to the youth so that they can also, right from school, aspire. We have been seeing hot debates in schools. We had Donna Macmillan supporting those debates, making sure, and those girls which we saw on TV under that program were ready to tackle any topic and make sure that we succeed in picking up relevant leadership in the women leadership in the country. I personally wish the 8 countries who are currently hosting the 3-year project, I wish them all the best and look forward that there will be positive outcomes that will increase its women leadership at least 2-fold. For WLSA, We thank those who have kept the banner shining. I recall that Honorable Thanda Bantu Nhlapo was the one who started the first baton in WLSA. And I remember that when he came up, we thought, this one is coming to actually assist men. But his message was very, very clear, and it was not confused, and it was directed at us women. He started the package that now composes what we call our rights. And he started also supporting women within families who needed legal support. I stand in front of you here and I ask myself, I see Sizakele here, but where is Nomcebo Dlamini? Where is it? Do we actually even applaud her work? This is what happens. We get staggered like like waves. Somebody and some money comes into our hands. We go up like a tiny wave. If the money is a lot, we go an even higher wave. But soon it subsides. And so we must actually look for a way in which we can raise funding, long-term funding. For example, I would like to suggest that the Women Parliamentary Caucus does revive the network for women parliamentarians. Sincerely, we had, with the last, I think it was the elections after us, we were so powerful in the Women Parliamentary Caucus that being a member of the parliament, we started keeping money slowly. And when it came to campaigning, there was no question. We just went back to our account and each one got back what she had put there. We need to adopt such strategies in order to make sure that even this and Sweden is one of the very faithful donors we have, and which I would suggest would continue even further to about 10 years or so in supporting our women in Swaziland. Eswatini, I see. So I say, and sincerely, that let's look back. My message is, let's look back at the past, because I can't talk about anything else except the past, and look at those outcomes which have made us win, and carry those to the youth as we go around. Let's not leave anybody. I haven't told my executive that I'm giving a brief advice to you today, but I can make an invitation for them to also listen, and they should come up. These are the powerful women that you see like Tapsile here, who are still in parliament and can give at each dialogue maybe only 15 minutes of talk, which can change the lives of the youth. Power to the women. Pez Gomkono, I thank you.
Bring it up. I think I said it in the last session, lebesinayo, nabosizagele. Nginanadele inkulumo yami ke Khathamzi. Ngilenza beke ukuthi ke ukuthi nya lo 4 years. Mase sathi ukuthi seselikhethwe bese kuthi vote for a woman, vote for a woman. Benisoloni kuphi, you know. So we're hoping that with this platform, with this program that's going to run for the next 3 years as a country, we'll have continuity of conversation. And I really do hope, Guti, the plans in the pipeline are to actually go into the regions and go into the communities, because it's a privilege that is not afforded to many to be able to come into a room like this one. Sikhulume nje singisi sodwana sibuyele sema-ofisini nasema-university netinhlangano lesiqhamuka kithu. So I really hope that we all have taken the challenge la khuluma ngayo make Bella Khathamzi ukuthi asingabonakali as a women's movement ukuthi dinemali tilwane kulamalanga ema-campaign nemabhena netikipa. You know, we should be consistent in our narrative. We should take charge of our narrative. We should be passionate. We shouldn't do it simply because of numbers or hey, so yaphela umnyaka kufuna sikhombise ama-donors ukuthi kukhona lesikwendile, because we are going to be held accountable tomorrow. Bomake bayibekile indvuku ebandla basho njalo ngeSwati. What are we doing? And by we, I'm talking about myself and I'm talking about you too. Because now I saw you the message, and you also see the importance of having women's voices being represented in leadership. Involved in decision making and leadership. It gives your voice weight. Now khuluma nje umSnethemba, siyabonga elangosi. Utawukhuluma but utawuhamba kufikela. But kube kuthiwa ngikhuluma ngingumhlonishwa wasemafutheni. Khake sikuseni butini mafutheni. Mzali, ngivotela mzali. But when you have been able to penetrate through the structures, it gives you weight. Your voice matters. So I'm encouraging us, all of us, whether you're at university, join the SRC. You know, you should also be there because your absence means that the things that you're passionate about, the things that matter to you, the service that you receive at a health facility as a woman, if it leaves a lot to be desired, those things will never be addressed unless you are in a position where you're able to say, what can we do to change that? I think the same is true across the board. So thank you very much, Mage. Siaiva challenge, we are taking it up. We are nearing the end of our program. We are going to ask Noman Lovu, who is going to give us the closing remarks. She is from the International Institute for Democracy and Electoral Assistance, International IDEA. After her, Sabui. I know, you won't be seeing such a pretty face, ne? But we really are nearing the end of our program. Thank you so much for your patience. Norma is going to wrap up for us in literally 5 minutes. And then I'm not going to come back after her. I'm going to invite the acting national director for WLSA, Sizakele Hlachwalo, Namage Mavimbela, ukuthi batosibongela, la bese ngiyabuya. Okay, simshayele tandla Noma.
Good afternoon, everyone. From Women in Law in Southern Africa, Zimbabwe. And thank you so much for having me today in this afternoon. And mine is just to do closing remarks. I'm not going to be long. It's always difficult to actually speak while everyone is waiting for lunch, but I'm going to be very short. Thank you for the opportunity. Today we had the privilege to hear different women sharing their wisdom and rich knowledge and experiences of carrying out the battle for women's rights for over 20 years. Thank you so much for that journey that you have walked. We have also had women with inspiring young women coming up with inspiring voices of this new generation that is full of hope, that is full of energy, and they are ready to move with this battle. The result that has been stimulating, mobilizing, and wide-ranging meeting for many constituencies. This is a coalition that we need to achieve wide range meeting for many, this is a coalition that we need to achieve for common vision for gender equality. To
today, the dialogues was very interesting amongst the group, and we were talking about cross generations. And this was very critical to overcome the barriers that stand in the way for ending discrimination and inequality. The world needs an inclusive and powerful practical vision. Gender equality is not a simply desirable objective. It is central to attaining all our goals of durable peace and sustainable development. I would like to congratulate all of you, all the participants and the organizers of this meeting. That has been such a wonderful event. I would like to thank all the participants who sat through, who gave their ideas on how we can contribute to the women participating in politics and in political decision making. And I would like to thank you all for making this intergenerational dialogue such a unique and energizing day. Your dedication and commitment are contagious. We need to spread the liberating spirit around the globe with combination of passion and compassion. Without passion, nothing happens. And without compassion, the wrong things happen. Let us go to work and to protect the advances that we have achieved and build on them in the months, in the years to come, and to create the lives of dignity for millions of women and girls around the world. And by that, making life better and richer for all the men and the women. Let us fully continue to be inspired also by our laws, including the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. That is the foundation of all the efforts that we have. Thank you so much, everyone, for participating in this meeting. Thank you so much, International Idea, for allowing us to take this time and talk to the women, especially the young, being mentored by our old women. Thank you so much, WLSA Swaziland, for giving us this opportunity. And above all, we would like to also thank our facilitator, our mobilizer, Madam Director. You were such a wonderful host. You hosted us through the meeting. It was such a wonderful, wonderful meeting. Thank you so much, everyone, for attending this meeting.
Thank you very much, Noma. Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of our event. We are wrapping up literally in the next 5 minutes. I want to appreciate Margaret Dembe from UNFPA. For those of us who are back leg game, girls, game. There's a game. There's something that we're doing. The work that she has done in, different portfolios in making sure that we always have funding, in making sure that we're able to visit communities, in making sure that our health facilities are friendly to young women. If you're 16 or 17 to walk into a clinic and say, Sanbonani ngicela kutohlela, bangasilabonisa imhlolo sis. Thank you, Margaret. We appreciate you. We appreciate you so much. I think if there's something that COVID has taught all of us, is the importance of being present in the now. Good for the sacrifices that you have made. Thank you, Margaret Katamzi. Thank you for setting the bar so high and for challenging us. Thank you for not shutting up. Thank you for being fierce. Thank you for being consistent as well. I think language from Ngulume Margaret Katamzi is the importance of consistency. Be consistent. Also Margaret Katamzi mangabe sifuna kusishaya siwe lesihlahla asingatsino lokugeca. Keep hitting it at the same spot. Margaret Hlatshago na chairperson ngicela nitenge mbili nito bonga. Sibashayele ntandla. Ngisayolungisa le mali yeni ekushaya tandla nje nyanga.
Vele le ngoma iyashoda. Angathi bengithi nje iyashoda le ngoma. But in any case, siyabonga kakhulu, sithandza ku sing women in law. Eswatini, Single Women in Law in the region, as we're hosting this meeting. Sithandza kunibonga kakhulu. Thank you very much for sitting through this meeting and also for sharing your views on women in leadership, on women participation. Thank you very much for inspiring our young women and inspiring us as well, you know, across the generations. We're all inspired. To our panelists and the guest speaker, thank you so much, Mage. Bengibatshela, amen. Bengibatshela e-office ukuthi Mage Khatamzi is so thorough. Besihlala naye office ngibhale athi sizakele asicalele phasi le phrase yakho lesingisi la sicalele phasi. So she taught me how to write a proposal, because we will sit there ngibhale ngithi nami ngigoba umlomo. She would take it amake ngesandla, amake abhale angitshele sicalele phasi. So that thoroughness, you won't get it anywhere except for umuntu lo passionate ngenvo lakayentako. Ngicela siphindze simshayele tandla Make Khatamzi. She has inspired a number of us. Bengicabanga nje ukuthi kunabo Sakina base Ethiopia namuhla usebenta khona Sakina Morris owabase Ethiopia. Kuna PS Nonhlanhla Dlamini besinaye, kunabo Jane, kusonke women in law officers la hambe embi kwethu bekasebenta na Make Khatamzi. Sibanengi kakhulu la kas-inspirishile. So that's what we are talking about when we are talking about cross-generational mentorship. So this Shancha Make Tapsile siyacela ute ngembili Mkholo, sicela kubonga ema timenywa tetfu leticavile kanye nawe. Ungasho something but sifuna kuba phana titi. Okay. Yes.
Thank you so much for everyone present here, taking your time to be with us. Thank you so much, Mage Bella Khatamzi. As they have mentioned, Mage Bella Khatamzi came to Parliament to be a senator. After I was out, I was in the 7th Parliament, and I think she was in the 8th Parliament. But Mage Bella, during her time, wati ukuthi ukhona Thapsile Mavimbela, who has been a senator, and when she got the opportunity to travel in Africa when they wanted women in democracy, she picked me, ukuthi ukhona Thapsile esiPhofaneni. Then we traveled with her in the countries lebeka menshina sikhuluma basi empowerisha as women in democracy. So she is a sister to me, and I'm honorisha kakhulu. Basakhuluma ngamake Margaret la Patembe. I remember when I was a board member in Gaswaga, she was working there, and life usahamba ngempilo, you never know ukuthi utawufika. Namhla Margaret, she's there. We know each other. I think one day we are sisters here. As we go kule journey yokuphila, let's you know, when you respect in life. I didn't know Margaret that time. She was looking at me, Nam I was looking at her, and I respected her as somebody, a volunteer, Kaswaga, and she was looking at me as a board member, and now we are here. That is life. I respect her very much. Me too. So as we go, Sibomage, Sima girls, le journey lesihambako we respect each other because impilo awuyati ukuthi kuphatheleni and impilo uma utoyihlonipha nayo itawenda njani itakuhlonipha ngalawo lamafishane singamkhohlwa uNkulunkulu kuko konke. God is a leader, God ungumphathi wako konke nalesifo lesikhona lesisabalamuhla sabafikela nabasendvulo eGibhitha kwathela uNkulunkulu. Mina I believe ukuthi sisesikhatsini lapho uNkulunkulu asikhumbuta khona ukuthi uphethe umhlaba nguye lophethe konke noma besingaba bodokotela sibe yini but impilo yaqalwa nguye lo wadala umuntu wamakha wamphefumulela ngemoya wakhe. uNkulunkulu uthi asimkhumbule ukuthi yena umsomandla uphethe konke kusesandleni sakhe. Amen. Sambeni kahle sayemakhaya. Uthi sale ngithandaza ngicabanga ukuthi siyabonga kuNkulunkulu, siyabonga Nkosi yemandla uNkulunkulu lophakeme, sibonga kusilondoloda, sibonga kusihlanganisa ngaloluhlobo sisebomake nema young girls ethu siphe amandla Nkosi ekuba nesibinzi ekumela tikhundla lapho usibeke khona wherever la ngikhona noma ungichairperson noma uyini but ume ngemaqiniso usiphumelelise njengaNkulunkulu egameni lakho Jesu Kristu. Amen.
Simshayele tandla. We also have another one for Miss Masugu. Please hand it over to her. Just keep clapping. Clap until it's your turn. Mamshi umzala ntombi yami. For Mr. Damini. Okay, Tri is in the meeting. Can we give her as well? Oh, our poet Bonsiwe. Yay! And then we have one for the board chairperson, Buisa, for Mage Mavimbela as well. Oh, Bamba, Baba Sabayamfara na director simnikeni. Okay, thank you very much. Oh, apparently there's one for me also. Clap, guys. I did a sterling job, ne? Yes. Thank you so much also to our participants who are joining us virtually. We have come to the end of our launch. We hope that, and we are confident that we have taken a lot away from this meeting, that the conversations are going to continue. I do believe that we will be on social media, Payo. We're going to be on social media and on Facebook, Twitter, and all those other nice things. The conversations will be ongoing, and WLSA is going to notify you, Gusi, from here, Sipegagupi. I do believe that we're going to also have other similar events at regional levels. Of course, in keeping with Emma COVID-19 regulations. We also have a gift for everyone in the house. We'll be getting t-shirts on our way out. Yay! So we're going to walk out and have our lunch. Langaphandle basettle in 2 different places. So Lababalakala Hotel Abatoskombisa. There are 2 different areas. Thank you so much. You guys have been an amazing crowd. Call me, book me, follow me on Twitter. I'm not on Twitter. Thank you so very much.